because I want to die. I want to return to nothing.
There's no reason for me to be here. No one ever even sees me anymore. No reason left for me to live.
There's no one left around that I can call a friend.
These teenagers want to die, and if you're a young person, their mental health is probably still better than yours. Neon Genesis Evangelion was aired by TV Tokyo in October 1995. It concluded only 3 years ago with Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, Thrice Upon a Time. Despite its ridiculous name, the latest installment earned a whopping 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. You could say people like it. Evangelion's popularity, like youth depression, has only grown with time. One of these things is better than the other. Despite having access to more technology, innovation, and real wealth, Zoomers report significantly worse mental health than previous generations. According to the 2022 McKinsey Health Institute Global Gen Z survey, another painfully long name, nearly 1/3 of Zoomers self-report their mental health as poor or very poor, in contrast to 7% of Boomers. These data are disturbing. The outlook is even worse when you realize that this hasn't always been the case. Young people used to be the happiest age group. Now we're the least. Dartmouth's David Blanchflower confirms the deteriorating mental health of people aged 18 to 30 years old. 10% of young women now, in 2023, report 0 good days in the past month, up 5 percentage points from that age group in 1993. Believe it or not, this anime from the 1990s can help us understand why young people are struggling so much nowadays. A Zoomer myself, I think I know why the mecha cult classic has had such a resurgence with my demo. The answer is not pretty. Remarkably lonely, anxious, and depressed Zoomers relate to Shinji Ikari, the show's hyper-alienated protagonist. And by remarkably, I mean 73% of Gen Z report feeling alone sometimes or always. Basically, we feel like this. The question isn't why this is so bad, but why is it so bad now? The jury's out on precisely why we're so much worse off than we were in the 90s, but as Professor Blanchflower discusses in the New York Times, the mental health of 20-somethings began to deteriorate noticeably around 2011. Does anybody else remember what was happening in the late aughts and early 2010s? Even though I was just a little kid, I think I do. The rise of social media. At the time, Facebook. Nowadays, Instagram, TikTok, while it's still legal, and Snapchat. Zoomers have grown up anxiously curating digital personas to increase their followers instead of forming meaningful relationships IRL.
Man, is it great to have wonderful friends in this world, right, Shinji?
Zoomers have been subjected to intense social pressure, largely from each other, to comment on the latest controversy before understanding what we believe about it and who we even are.
So why do you pilot it?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
The price of wrongthink? The dreaded cancellation. So we contort ourselves to conform to exacting expectations.
They take care of me because I pilot the Ava. That's why I need to pilot the Ava. I need to fight and win. That's the only way. People will say.
Good work, Shinji.
The reason why a whole new generation is obsessed with Evangelion isn't the beautiful animation, the unforgettable soundtrack, or the gripping plot. It's the relatability of Shinji, the first Zoomer.
Because I'm afraid of being hated. I have to have value. I want to be worth something. I want to be worth enough to attract the attention of others.
It's not just Shinji either. All 3 protagonists, Shinji, Asuka, and Rei, are young teenagers trying to connect with each other while maintaining their own individuality. Meanwhile, each is tasked with defending humanity from the angels, omnipotent beings threatening to bring about Armageddon.
Guided munitions, bombs, and artillery are having no effect.
Standard weaponry is useless against the angels.
If you feel underwater trying to perform well in school, meet your parents' expectations, and be accepted by society, you probably sympathize with our motley crew of struggling Eva pilots. Asuka, Shinji, and Rei handle this overwhelming pressure in particular ways. Asuka's response to being expected to be the best is to be the best.
I'll give you a front row seat so you can see my excellent piloting.
But her confidence devolves into vicious, pathological narcissism.
Naturally, I think I would be the best leader. Is everyone in agreement? Right, let's go!
When she's no longer the best, her sense of self is completely shattered. She doesn't know what to do. Shinji is Asuka's polar opposite. He has no pride whatsoever. Shinji pilots the Eva
because everyone tells me to. What do you mean? It's for the sake of mankind. Isn't that good enough? And when I do it, the others appreciate me. The others like me then.
Misato advises Shinji to stop,
Trying to please everyone, it'll only make things harder for you.
but Shinji doesn't heed her advice and, unsurprisingly, becomes exhausted, frustrated, and isolated.
Yes. I never want to pilot an Eva again.
I'm disappointed in you. I doubt I will see you again.
Yes. I hope so.
Rei is a curious third case. She stoically accepts the burdens thrust upon her without a care in the world for the outcome or what happens to herself.
Even if I die, I can be replaced.
In fact, she doesn't care much about anything whatsoever. She's as detached as a Vulcan.
All you ever do is follow orders. I bet you'd kill yourself if Commander Ikari ordered you to.
I would.
Asuka, Shinji, and Rei represent archetypal social media personalities. The one who shows off all her accomplishments to win the adoration of those who really couldn't care less about her, the one who spinelessly conforms and takes undeserved beatings, and the one who has no accounts, or is a ghost, thereby untouched by the pathology of social media, but at the cost of the primary modern means of connecting. Though the avenues are different, the result is the same thing experienced by shocking numbers of Zoomers today: loneliness, anxiety, depression. Like Zoomers, the trio feels the weight of the world closing in on them, albeit literally. Unlike Zoomers, Shinji, Asuka, and Rei all have something many young people nowadays lack: each other. Even though they have to square off against nearly invincible foes, they have real friends to help them face this terrifying task.
I'm here to pay a visit to Miss Soryu. And what about you two?
We're here to see how Ikari's doing.
According to the American Enterprise Institute's 2021 American Perspective Survey, I really just cannot get a break with these names. Nearly half of Americans report having 3 friends or fewer. That figure was only 27% in 1990. The COVID-era policies young people were subjected to only compounded the problem. Compared to boomers, male and female Zoomers were 15 and 14 percentage points less likely to report remaining in regular contact with friends. And these data aren't even the most recent on the loneliness situation. Puberty reports 2024 survey data revealing a friendship recession. Unfortunately, Puberty didn't specify which survey. Luckily, Google was more helpful. A report from PBS finds a whopping 20% of single men report having 0 close friends. That's not good. Though all of the characters in Evangelion have complex relationships, to say the least, they still have each other. Asuka hates Shinji's spinelessness, Shinji loathes Asuka's arrogance, and Rei's emotional impenetrability puzzles them both. Nonetheless, the Eva pilots are forced to cooperate.
You and I should be friends.
Why is that?
Because things will be smoother if we're friends. That's the reason why.
Misato and Ritsuko have a love-hate relationship with each other due to their love-hate relationships with Kaji. And Toji and Shinji even hit each other before moving past their grievances to become close friends. All of these characters have one thing in common. They don't have the luxury of treating each other's flaws as deal breakers. They have a world to save, after all.
We don't have the luxury of choosing how we fight our battles. This is a fight to survive.
So what do? They do stuff in real life, and they do it together. In order to fight as one in their Eva units, Shinji and Asuka practice synchronized dancing until they perfectly match each other's rhythm, literally. Despite their initial incompatibility and mutual antipathy for each other, the duo defeat their angel analogs in a scene of perfectly choreographed combat, and all from getting really good at Dance Dance Revolution. Similarly, though Rei hides herself away in her pitifully neglected apartment, Shinji does what good friends do. He doesn't let her suffer alone. Although he does so rather awkwardly, he shows up for her. And in return, Rei shows up for Shinji when he needs her most, during his long-distance firefight with Reimil. After Shinji's Eva unit accidentally injures Toji's sister during a battle, Toji lashes out and beats him up at school. To apologize and bury the hatchet, Toji invites Shinji to strike him to make things even. Now, I'm not endorsing schoolyard brawls, but though we can and should object to the means, the end is a good one here: friendship, peace. The resolution mechanisms Zoomers have, if they can even be called this, and they probably shouldn't, are worse than a minor scuffle between classmates. For example, permanently ostracizing peers for slights perceived, real, and really exaggerated. Giving someone a public talking to is not the same as talking it out. Isn't this what we were all taught to do in elementary school? I mean, it's elementary to social cooperation, especially in a society as diverse as ours. How people respond to being ostracized is even worse. For example, wasting away in the real world while doom scrolling on social media, gaming, and watching media for unhealthy amounts of time.
She won't go to school. She won't go home. She just plays video games. There's no reason for me to be here.
Which is not to say that there isn't a healthy way to engage in all of the above. There's certainly a time and a place for decompressing with Netflix, keeping up with distant friends and family, and playing CSGO while screaming on Discord until 3 a.m. I'm not a neo-Luddite or a boomer in Zoomer's clothing, but we have to acknowledge that if the firm that profits from you spending time on its platform is the one encouraging you to take a break, you should probably consider doing so. Here are some alternatives: touching grass, exercising, joining a reading group, fraternity, sorority, or volunteering. Something, anything really, that requires you to interact with other people, whether that's playing Pong, serving your local community, or defending the world from alien invaders. Evangelion begins to answer the problem of youth loneliness by offering a clear-eyed acceptance of the nature of people and our relationships with each other. To live as a human being, you need the sympathy of others.
You live on sympathy and you get it with your Eva, Shinji!
But, as Adam Smith explains in The Theory of Moral Sentiments, although we long for each other's sympathy, there's no one we relate to and sympathize with more than ourselves.
People can never fully understand others. Good luck even knowing yourself. And yet people are still compelled to learn everything they can about others and themselves.
The only one who can take care of you and understand you is you.
Frustrating, to be sure, but unavoidable. We aren't going from our current condition of anomie to singing Kumbaya and Universal Brotherhood. That's neither possible, nor is it desirable, unless you want to be part of Evangelion's orange soul soup, or whatever's going on in End of Evangelion. But that's a topic for another video. Instead, interpersonal connection requires tolerance of each other's imperfections while we work together to become better friends, partners, and colleagues. After all, there's no alternative. None of us is perfect, not even Asuka. Nor are we going to be. The pursuit of virtue is a lifelong one that ends, ultimately, in imperfection. And that's okay.
Maybe I could love myself. Maybe my life could have a greater value. That's right. I am no more or less than myself. I am me. I want to be myself. I want to continue existing in this world. My life is worth living here.
And you should want to be here too.